Hi guys, it's JB here, and we're doing an EFL Weekly. We're going to do EFL Weekly, where we're going to focus on one big topic that's been dominating the headlines in the EFL this week. And there was plenty of topics that we could have chosen, but unfortunately we've had to, Sol Campbell going at Macclesfield, the EFL Cup producing some terrific action. But unfortunately, there's one big story that's dominated the EFL world for the last few days, and that's the sad plight of Bury Football Club. A club that's been around the spectrum for a long, long time. In fact, I'm just going to Google Bury because I want to give you the backstory. They're in real problems here, Bury. If they don't, because they've had all their games postponed for financial reasons, because the EFL reckons that their chairman that they haven't got enough money to put games on, or there's no money in the coffers and whatever, so they can't. Obviously, the financial irregularities at Bury, so they haven't been able to play any games. They've all been postponed. Steve Dale is the chairman, and I'm going to be having a little go at him because he is in danger of putting this club out of existence. From what I've heard, and you're going to hear the whole story, there's a thing I'm going to play on Talk Sport with Jim White earlier. So obviously they won promotion last year, and there's a financial crisis that's threatening the club's membership, and there's going to be a decision made on the 23rd of August regarding the status of Bury and their future in League One, which is sad really, because they're a great little club, and it's a lovely town, Bury. If you go to Bury, it's a wonderful town. I've been lucky to go visit there many times. Just on the outskirts of Manchester. For those who live down south or don't know where it is, it's actually right in it's in between Rochdale and Bolton, but it's just on the outskirts of Manchester, right on the edge of Prestwich as well. You go up the road towards Manchester, you go through Prestwich, and you get through to Manchester. Bury's at the start of that, and it's, as I say, it's a really lovely northern town, proper northern town. Nice people, nice everything at the moment. They've also got, it must be really difficult for the players and Paul Wilkinson and that, but obviously, let's just go into this deeper. Let's give you the backstory. Now, Steve Dale bought the club in December last year, and in February 2019 paid an outstanding tax bill, or claimed to have paid an outstanding tax bill to avoid a revenue and customs riding up over. But however, the financial issues resurfaced on the 2nd of April this year, and staff and players have not received any of their salaries, only once, I think. And on the 10th of April, former coach Chris Brass, claiming to be a creditor of a club, issued a winding up petition to be heard in the High Court, for a Burnley player, of course. Amid the EFL's extreme concern about the club's situation, there was doubt whether the home game at the time on the 13th of April against Colchester would be played. It was, and Bury won 2-0. The club then announced on the 12th of April that it would be the wage bill would be settled by agreement with players and staff within the next 7 days. The winding up petition was adjourned until the 15th of May, when the league season was completed. And according to Chris Brass, the revenue and customs were claiming approximately £277,000. On the 25th of April, Dale admitted the club's financial issues had been far in excess of what he understood when he took over. He's placed the club on the open market, saying £1.5 million was needed to pay wages, and HR, revenue and customs and pensions to the end of May, with only 180 grand's worth of income expected during that period. A winding up petition hearing at the High Court on the 19th of June was adjourned until the 31st of July to allow time for a possible sale. Now, to secure the club's future, Dale proposed a CVA, which is a company voluntary agreement, to ensure payment of the club's football creditors, while unsecured creditors, including the HMRC, would receive 25% of monies owed. Now, this was approved by the creditors in 18th of July, on the 18th of July, and as a result, the winding up petition was dismissed by the High Court last month. Under EFL rules, a CVA is an insolvency event, and it's left the club obviously liable to a 12-point deduction ahead of the new season, which is now taking it there. And of course, Bury's preparation for the new season was very impacted by the loss of manager Ryan Law and several members of the first team who have now gone on to other clubs. On the 25th of last month, the EFL sought further details on how Bury could actually satisfy the CVA without proof of the club's financial viability. Bury could be expelled from the EFL without that proof. Satisfactory proof was not provided, and the 29th of July, the club's opening match of the new season, scheduled for the 3rd of August, which should have been at MK Dons, was suspended, as was on the 2nd of August, Bury's second match against Accrington Stanley, and then an EFL Cup game against Sheffield Wednesday on the 13th of August was suspended. On the 8th of this month, Bury were just given 14 days, and this is right now, until August the 22nd, to provide the EFL with a plan to pay off outstanding creditors. The EFL have repeatedly, under the guidance of David Jevons, insisted that it was working with the club to try and resolve the issues, but Bury do face expulsion if a financial order cannot be restored by the 23rd of this month. On the 12th of this month, Dale will only consider selling the club after. He said he would consider selling the club after staff implored him to accept a newly received offer to buy the club. Nonetheless, Bury's third league game against Gillingham on August 17th was also suspended, as was the 20th of August game against Rotherham United. So there's obviously some issues there. Now, TalkSport. Now, obviously, Steve Dale, he's a businessman. He bought the club apparently for £1 or something or other. Apparently, he said he's paid a thing, but the players have not, out of 5, after having been in with the club now for nearly 6 months, Steve Dale has only paid the players and the staff one of their monthly wages within 6 months. Now, that I find despicable. This is why I blame Steve Dale, and you'll understand why when I play this interview. Now, if you haven't listened to Jim White's show earlier on TalkSport, one of the Bury players comes on the phone and explains to Jim, I'll just give you the backstory, that, okay, they're getting 50% of their wages from the Players' Union, the PFA, but that's on a loan basis, because when they get their wages, they're going to have to pay that loan back. So they're sort of in financial limbo, if you like. Now, this player, I'll tell you which player it is. Let me just bear with me a second. The player involved is Stephen Dawson. He's an Irishman. Now, he rang TalkSport up and explained to him that his house could be repossessed. He could be kicked out of his house within the next week if nothing is done. And it doesn't seem to me, from what I'm hearing, that Steve Dale is gonna save this club. And it's a shame, really. Bury has been in a club since 1885. 134 years of history is at stake here. This is the problem they have. They have absolutely magnificent history. 134 years. They've won the FA Cup at the turn of the 20th century. Won the FA Cup twice in 1900 and 1903. It's a long way ago. Long time ago. But they've been in the top flight in the early days. They've won 2nd Division, 3rd Division, 4th Division. They've won a lot. And in the lower leagues. And it's sad to see that. They had a renaissance when they got into the Championship nearly 20 years ago under Stan Turner. That's how good a club they really have been. The supporters, okay, it's not a big fan base, but to the town of Bury, this would be a disaster if Bury Football Club was to go under. Not just for the players and the staff that work there, but for the whole town of Bury. Now, I come from Burnley. I'm a Burnley fan. And thank God the Lord that we've actually. I know we might criticise Mike Garrick in some of the videos, but you know, you look at the way Burnley are now. You know, if it wasn't for him and possibly Barry Kilby, we wouldn't be in a position where we're playing Premier League football every week and looking forward to games like Arsenal who we play tomorrow. You know, against the likes of Lacazette, Nicolas Pepe, and Aubameyang and David Luiz and all that lot. You know, Mesut we're playing against these lot. You know, and Burnley fans 15, 20 years ago would not have dreamed about days like this. So, you know, I suppose we've got to be very thankful to that. So I can understand various fans' frustrations. There's one man who's been a season ticket holder for over 40 years. He used to come out of army. Used to get leave at weekends from the army to go back from Germany to watch his beloved Bury play. And these fans are going to miss out on having a football team to support, regardless of what league they're in. This is a disaster. This could be a disaster waiting to happen if Steve Dale does not pull his finger out and help save this football club. Now, as I said, the backstory to one of the players involved here on TalkSport, and there's a bit of an argument I'm going to play in a minute. It's between Stephen Dawson, who's a midfielder, and Steve Dale himself. They all went on TalkSport this morning with Jim White, Bob Mills, and Martin Keown. You probably hear at least two of the three of the presenters. Definitely Jim White and definitely Martin Keown. Whether Bob Mills is party to that conversation, I'm not sure. And then there's Dawson and Dale slugging it out. Now we're going to join this interview, and then obviously I'm going to stop it and get my opinion as I go on, and then I'm going to finish off with a little rant. And I'm going to go and finish off with my feelings and my perspective on where Bury may go from here. So let's see. We'll try and play as much as this conversation. It's about 10 minutes long, but bear with me because this is a conversation worth listening to. So as I say, I'll break it off and give Mike and find out who's. But I honestly think Steve Dale's the man in the run. But listen to the player as well. Here we go.
Steve, bear with me on this because one way or the other here at TalkSport, we are determined to help you make progress with this situation. Now, Steve, hang on 1 second. Stephen Dawson will just make a point to you now. Stephen Dawson, good morning. Steve Dale's on the line. What do you want to say to Steve Dale?
Here we go.
Good morning, lads. How are you?
Good. We're fine, Stephen. You'll need to speak to Steve Dale now. Go on.
Listen, Chairman. Let's go to the chase. They haven't bothered to pay us in months. You've country lies to everyone. The EFL, you have no shown facts. You haven't shown that you've got the money to save this club. For months we kept quiet. You've sacked up people at the club. You've not paid anyone in months. I'm on the verge of losing everything. I've had to listen to what you've had to say for months. You can say you're trying to save the club. At the end of it all, get your money and leave the club. Or otherwise, this club is now home.
Steve Dale, you heard Stephen Dawson there. Stephen Dawson, one of your players, is saying he's on the verge of losing everything. How's the lot? What can you say to him, Steve?
Mr. Dawson, did he receive from the beginning 50% of his wages?
Are you having a laugh? 50% of his wages isn't going to cover the cost, Steve Dale. Get it into your thick skull.
Excuse me, 50% from who? We've had two ends.
Have the PFA paid you up to the CBA 50% of your wages? Yes or no?
Paid us 2 months' wage.
No. They paid you 4 months.
He's lying, Dale.
50%, they said.
Steve, no, I'm not going to help. I don't know.
No. Just answer yes or no.
Paid 2 months of the PFA, which is a loan. You paid me once in 6 months. We do not know.
Right. Let's just get to the chase here. The PFA paid upon my request that I would repay the money to them, which we have agreed with the PFA. It's been agreed and signed. 50% of your wages
It is lies. I mean, they have to pay that back to players. That is the agreement with their union. Steve Dale is telling a load of lies here. Bury fans, listen to what your player is saying, because I don't trust this Steve Dale guy. He sounds like a very, very dodgy businessman, and I've heard rumours that any business he's touched has gone downhill. So you'll be hoping that he sells this club very quickly. Let's play more of it. Let's see what more lies Steve Dale can throw on this. What a liar, Dale. What a liar. No, you haven't. No, you haven't. Now they're bloody trying to get Simon Jordan in on the act, and he couldn't even run bloody Crystal Palace, that fucking knob. As if Kim White's going to do that for you. All the lies you're telling, Steve Dale, and you're running a very good football club into the ground, twat. Yeah, you're not. Good point, Jim. Right. He saved the club, has he? Well, he's told a load of lies as far as I'm concerned. I mean, if I was a Bury fan, for which I'm not, I'm a Burnley fan, but outside of looking in, and I'm a football fan, he's just a businessman trying to cover his tracks and put some bloody BS spin on this. I am very, very angry that Bury, a very good club, going to the cleaners. They've been a Football League club for as long as I can remember, and Steve Dale, in my opinion, and I'm just an outsider looking in, is 100% responsible for what's been going on over the last 6 months. Never mind the previous owner, what his misdemeanors were. He's the custodian of the club, and he should be taking responsibility, not people that have gone before it. And I find it very, very laughable when he's trying to cover his own back to save his own silly little face. Don't fall for it, Bury fans. Just don't fall for it. So you call an England international, a footballing legend, a stupid remark. He's sticking up for the football club. He's sticking up for the players, and you're just trying to cover your own back, Mr. Dale. What do you think you're doing? You are running a football club into the ground, and you're still trying to back up your own boast. Do me a favour, let's see some more of his BS. Can you hear yourself, Dale?
just fine.
What a cunt. Well, if that's the case, then why don't you pay him his damn wages, then, you silly little covering twat? You know, I think the people of Bury need to know this. I think the football world needs to know. And I'm an outsider looking in. I think they need to know what a twat this Steve Dale actually is. And I think the fuck should be thrown at him. I think the EFL should launch the book at him. Because I don't think he's a fit and proper person to run a football club. You know, not even the club a small size as what Bury is at the moment. It is a joke. And he's trying to cover his own back by slagging off one of his own players who's struggling to feed his kids, struggling to feed his missus, could be thrown out of his own house the next day. I find it truly sick that Steve Dale could do a thing like that. Let's see what more BS he sprouts now. Something's up the morning, isn't it? Prove it then. Really? Well, you've got a home to stay at, haven't you? You lying little git. That's enough. I've listened to the man's bullshit, and I think thrash it out. That's not good enough. This is a club with 135 years of history behind it. It's won the FA Cup twice. Do you honestly think that sitting down and thrashing it out is going to save Bury Football Club from extinction and having its membership revoked from the Football League? Do me a favour, you're going to have to come up with a better excuse than that, Steve Dale. Now, I'm not a Bury fan. I'm a football fan. I don't want to see good traditional football clubs like Bury, who rely on their loyal fans. They've only got 11,000 on their fan base that turn up. Gigg Lane's not a small ground. Gigg Lane's not a big ground. I think the other clubs, I mean, you look at what Accrington Stanley are doing. They're having fundraising games with them. I think that's good to know. You know, we need to, you know, I just think it's ridiculous. He's just lying to his teeth to that footballer there. He's lying. He's a liar. All businessmen, they don't care about what the footballers do. They don't care about the club and its history or whatever they're doing. Steve Dale's only in it for himself, to make money. And if that is the case, then, I mean, I listen to callers and people like that, and he wants $5 million for the club. Have a bloody night off, Steve Dale. Cut your losses, sell the club, pay whatever you owe the people that you owe, creditors, revenue and customs, the Football League, the PFA. Just do everything. Secure the player's future. Otherwise, prepare to face the consequences, because obviously you're not exactly a fit and proper person to run a football club. And that is a disgrace. A disgrace. I mean, we had the situation at Bolton. That looks as if it might get back on track. Now we've got this at Bury. I think the Bury situation, without being harsh here, and I don't like to say this because I don't want to upset any Bury fans here, but it's a lot worse considering the way the club's been with him. Steve Dale, he's just trying to protect himself. He doesn't care about the football club or its supporters or whoever. He cares. From what I've heard, and this is just my opinion, people might want to disagree with me, people might want to agree with me, but you might not even get more than 50% agreement on anything. Let me tell you what I think of him. I think he's a disgusting excuse of a chairman, and I think the Football League need to look at the way when new chairmen come to a football club, they need to get a stringent, and this applies to the Premier League as well and to the FA, they need to get a stringent, fit and proper person's examination in, and I mean very stringent, very strict rules, because we've had, over the years, so many clubs almost go to the wall. Portsmouth, Bolton, Bury, do you name but three. Leeds United were in administration for a long, long time. Clubs like that, it is disgrace, it's despicable. The way that the EFL or the Premier League or the FA just allow any Tom, Richard and Harry, or any Tom, Dick and Harry to come in, right, you can run this, you can do that, and then run it into the ground. I mean, you only have to look at the situation at Portsmouth all those years ago to realise that. There's not a stringent, fit and proper person's examination in place. There needs to be, to stop catastrophes like the one at Bolton, the one at Portsmouth, and obviously Blackpool as well with the Roystons. They were proven not to be fit and proper people to run a football club. You know, I'm obviously Steve Dale Bury. He's another one of that stupid breed who thinks he's bigger than anything else. If you care about the club enough, Steve Dale, if you think about Bury and its supporters, you need to sell up ASAP and save this club. They've had, you know, I feel sorry for the fans of Bury. I feel sorry for the players of Bury, the management, the whole lot. But this is the situation they find themselves in, sadly, and that is really, really bad. And I think Steve Dale is lying through his teeth about the situation. I can believe what the footballers, I can actually believe what Stephen Dawson's saying there, because why would he make a thing like that up? Why would he make a thing like he can't afford to feed his family, you know, his wife and children? You know, why would he make up that he could be thrown out of his own home by this time next week? This is what I'm getting at. This is the problem. that chairmen don't seem to understand. They like to keep their cards close to their chest because they're business people. They couldn't give a monkey's chuff about their employees. They could just sweep them under the carpet as far as they're concerned. But at the end of the day, the be-all and end-all of any footballer is the footballers themselves and the supporters. And he's clearly not factored that into any significance during that interview on TalkSport today. But that's my opinion. I think Steve Dale is killing Bury Football Club, unfortunately. I'm sorry, Bury fans. That's how I see it. But I also want to, obviously, let me know what you guys think, of course, in the comments section below. Desperate times, really, when people can't even fit the criteria for fitting proper person. You can blame the EFL for that. You can blame the Premier League when they let this guy from get out of Portsmouth at the time and run them into the ground, and they ended up going all the way back to League Two and still struggling to get out of League One at the moment. I think it's sad, and I do think obviously Steve Dale is to blame for what's happened here. And I also think the EFL need to take some accountability for letting him actually take over and run the show in the first place. And I honestly think that the Premier League and the Football League need to have, and the FA as well, the Football Association, need to have a more stringent, more stricter fit and proper persons examination in place to stop crooks like Steve Dale, crooks like Ken Anderson or whoever it is, taking charge of a football club. It is disgraceful, it's despicable, and it's not good enough for all the British football authorities. It's a joke. Let me know what you think, guys, in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. Hit the notification video if you want notifications on any videos. And, of course, if you haven't subscribed, please do. Okay, we'll see you at the weekend for more football commentaries. We'll announce which games are which ASAP. But until then, from me, JB, have a fantastic Friday night, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.